welcome back to the Red Couch Chronicles. I am Rebecca, and to my right is
AMarie, and to my right is
it's your host Meaux, and to my right is
Whitney over here.
And today I will be interviewing the ladies of the Red Couch. So I have a good mix of questions. Some of the questions are going to be just to get to know you better, get to know how you think, some about society. So we're gonna start out light, and then we're gonna get a little deeper.
okay.
So this first question is just for everybody. What was your best college memory?
Why you cheesing? You know it.
I already know your best college memory.
I know my best college
I
memory.
know what you think her best college memory
She do.
is.
She do. Go on and say yours.
You first. We starting that way.
I don't know. I'm just playing. I mean, I know that you say you think I'm gonna say it's the pageant, and it is because I don't really have anything else to top that with. But I wish I could have thought of something else just to trip you up. But no, the pageant was probably the highlight of my college career.
For me, I feel like this ain't necessarily the answer I want to give, but I feel like it'd probably be meet my best friend.
Oh yeah.
Like that's probably the most lasting and memorable thing that came from college.
So, mine would probably have to be starting my organization. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. This is another just light question. Tell us about your worst date.
I feel like we was just talking about this.
You.
I don't know, cause honestly, I ain't been on too many like dates for real. So I don't have honestly, I don't have a worst day. I've never been on one that was just awful. Honestly,
That's good.
yeah.
Okay, there's hope out there.
For sure.
I mean, I wouldn't look to me for hope, but I've been favored a little, I guess. But that's also because I haven't been on many dates. So
Same.
I would say I just talked about the hell date last night. I'm not even gonna use that one. I'm gonna use the one where I got stood up.
Oh yeah.
That's
So
terrible.
yeah, like I was in my hometown, which is Lewisburg, Tennessee, and we were meeting in Nashville to go out to dinner. We've been talking all week. I already had one date. To me, that was successful. I mean, he acted like he had a good time. I had a good time. It was second date.
Yeah.
Stood me up. Blocked me on everything. Didn't text back.
I blocked you.
Didn't call me back after I'm at the restaurant waiting. Like, it was a real deal stand up. I feel like that was the worst day ever.
That was terrible.
I broke down.
Yeah.
I was tore up. 'Cause I'm like, damn. Like, he disappeared. Like,
Did
disappeared.
you ever hear from him again?
Not never.
Damn, fuck you. Oh.
Maybe you got
Ate it.
My worst date was when I had no business going on. So I met him somewhere close to campus or near my apartment, which was extremely close to campus at the party. I was just probably like my junior year or something. And we went to, I want to say like UB's over there on Highland.
Ubies.
And so, first of all, I think he was probably a local or somebody that lived over there in that area.
Uh-huh.
He asked me out. He invited me. He showed up looking a little dingy.
Oh.
I ended up paying for it, the whole meal and drinks, and he ended up asking me for a ride home.
No.
It was just all bad. The conversation was like there was not.
One good part.
The drinks were great. The
drinks
and
were
I think
great.
it was because the bartender felt bad for me. So there's that.
Woo.
Hell day.
Hell date.
That was a good show too.
It really
It
was.
was a good show. That was crazy.
Okay, so now we're gonna move into like a medium question. Which would you say is better, childhood life or adult life?
Childhood. Well, It's a toss up. I mean, it's things I miss about childhood, just the innocence of childhood and not really having to worry about stuff. But adulthood brings its own like adventures, even with all the BS. Like, so I don't know. I guess I'm enjoying adulthood. So
yeah, I have to say childhood, unfortunately, because growing up sucks. Growing up sucks. It's lame. It's dumb. You pay too much money for stuff. People expect too much out of you. They don't want to give you a job. They don't want you to be creative.
All right.
I mean, the list goes on.
It's
very
not
ghetto.
giving.
So I feel like one of the big things I strive to do with staying creative is keep my childhood wonder. Even in spiritual practice, a lot of the like visualizing and manifesting, like you have to be able to kind of get out of that adult like programming that has you thinking that you limited and that you this and that. When you a child, it ain't no limits. We finna jump off or whatever. We finna scratch our knee if we got to or whatever. Fearless. So I hold on to that tight because I think a lot of people lose that. And I don't know.
Yeah.
You call me childish all day, but it really ain't an insult. It really ain't.
For me, I'm hoping that the answer is adulthood for me. Like, I'm hoping, I feel like I'm trying my best to craft the future to where I can be like, okay, childhood was pretty good. Adulthood got a little rough, in the transition, and then things got way better. Yeah. Like, that's what I'm projecting for, so.
I agree.
I heard the 30s are lit. So I heard like 20s, you just figuring stuff out, and then 30s. I heard things get pretty good there. So I'm hoping.
I will say this. I said that because I favored childhood wonder more, but I do like being an elder. I will say that. Like, I've been old. I've been wild. Like, I was an old child, but still had childhood wonder. It's really weird. But as I approach 30, it kind of do feel good. It's like, damn, I made it. I'm seeing people all the time not, make it to that. So that's beautiful too.
True.
Yeah. Okay. So I know all of you guys have been knowing each other for a good amount of time, but who would you say out of, I guess, the other two know you best?
Well, Quay knows me best. She knows me best, but I've also known her longer than I've known Whitney, so there's that factor as well. It's kind of the same. Honestly, she knows each other best.
She knows me best. I mean, we're family. She's known me since I was here.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, who do you feel like knows you best?
Okay, we can flip it back to the last question. She know childhood me best. She know adult me best.
Yeah.
I think that's the perfect way to balance it out. She seen me grow too, and you seen me grow, but I was an adult when you started to see me grow. So yeah, for sure.
Good way out of that one.
Yeah.
You trying to spin
that was good. Got it.
Okay, we're gonna take it back to the ghetto just a little bit.
Okay.
What's the hardest thing and the easiest thing about dating right now?
The hardest thing for me right now is that it's non-existent.
What's making it hard?
I was gonna say to that, it's probably just getting yourself out there is hard, especially outside of college. So like in college, it was way easier to meet people because you're always in a college crowd. Like everything you go to is going to be probably college oriented or college. Like the target is the college crowd, so you're always around it. So
people your age, similar activities.
Yeah. So being outside of that, and then life and so trying to get back out there, especially after not being in the dating scene for a while, and then getting out there is the hardest right now.
What makes it easy though? It's something about it that's a little easy.
I guess for me, it's a little easier to be truthful. It's a little easier to be truthful, and it's easier to be more, what's the word I'm thinking of? Selective.
Okay.
In a sense.
Okay.
And are you saying that because, like, now in society we're open to like talking about more topics and things that people not used to not talk about?
Well, more? I'm saying selective as in I'm a little older, so I can see through the BS a little better.
Gotcha.
So I don't always run into the same issues as I did when I was younger, because I can kind of sniff that out a little better than before. You know, people still get over a little bit, but for the most part, I trust my intuition enough more to be like, this ain't worth my time. So.
Gotcha.
Okay. Me. The hardest thing I would say is, you know, being deprived, man. Like, okay, so, like, you, as I'm approaching 30, like, I'm knocking on, healing. Okay. You keep your childhood wonder, but you gotta heal the wounds type deal, right? Mm-hmm. So once you get to this, like, you've matured in most of the ways that you need to, except for there's one thing, like, okay, it's dating now, like, it's mating, it's finding a relationship. Not like now, that's the thing. Like, most people in my age bracket are having babies, getting married, whatever. So of course, I'm looking at myself like, okay, how do I become ready for that or whatever? And what I found is, because of the childhood wounds and stuff not being right, baby, anything that act like it like me, I'm head over here. And if I like them back, I feel like I'm just through now, because I've been so deprived from real care and real. So I be done messed up, and you feel me? You know, that's the thing. Like, now you kind of vulnerable in a sense. Like, it's hard to be vulnerable in the streets, because they'll do you wrong out there. So, just trying to get over my own wounds and things, so I'm not so enamored by one person liking me. Yeah. Or somebody just being nice. You feel like, ooh, do he like me? No, he don't. He's just being nice, bro. Yeah. That's your brother, like,
common courtesy.
Yeah. The easiest thing is, what's easy, bro?
I don't know. I had to pull selective out my ass. So my God.
That was good though.
The easiest thing, it might be if you want to connect, you can. Oh yeah. You know, if you want to connect, you can. That's true. I mean, it is a little ugly through social media, because you can only see like one variation of a person, or you've been following a dude. You done follow a dude. Yeah, you following them for 3 weeks, and then it's a girl. Some nails pop up in a snap, and you like, oh hell, damn. But yeah, it's easier to get to the connections if you're trying to, not physically all the time, but definitely on social media. Slide in a DM real quick, or like a picture 5 times, 6 times. Yeah, access is there. It's there.
I'm up.
Yeah.
So I think probably one of the bigger obstacles now with dating is probably growing up, and like in my younger years, I had kind of very traditional values when it came to dating and stuff. And I think that was the majority. So it was a much wider pool. The older that I've gotten, the more open that I've come, I feel like that's narrowed down my dating pool. Because I think I've become in the minority of the way I view relationships and the type of relationship that I'm seeking. But I also feel like it's kind of a double-edged sword, because you can also say like that's kind of one of the things that's made it easier. Like, there are some things that I realized, like, if you're searching for this very idealistic, traditional, like, just certain values no longer align with me.
Yeah.
So if you're after that, I can tell pretty clearly that we're not going to be compatible. This probably isn't going to work. So it's made it very easy to get closer to.
Something that always like, speaking of that, something that always like get people turned off with me is saying like I'm ready to settle down. I'm like, yeah, it's over with. Because for what? Why? Because you're just like, I'm getting older and and I'm like, so what? We all getting older. Like, don't be trying to settle because you feel like you got to because you're reaching a certain age. I already know we on a different page.
Yeah. And I was even going to say to what you said, Mo, about social media. I feel like that's another double-edged sword because it's like, it makes it easier because you have access to all these different people, but it also kind of makes it harder because, like, yes, you can meet somebody in California, but it's kind of making a skewed view of who you're actually have access to. It's like you think you have access to all these people, but then you're missing the people who are actually in your circle and around you because you think, oh, I don't have to worry about you because I can go find somebody else across the world. Even though the person best for you might be right in your community. So.
And you can put on a bigger front online.
Yeah.
A lot easier to get got.
And also, I'm talking shit like I'm sliding the DM. I'd be scared as hell. I'd be scared as hell.
Yeah, I ain't saying that nobody's DM.
No.
Okay, so now we're gonna switch to like some like rapid fire one-on-one questions. So this is in no particular order. I'm not trying to come for nobody. So
Oh my God.
don't feel attacked.
I feel attacked already.
All right, we're gonna switch it coming from the other way.
Okay, you first.
All right.
I'm in the hot seat.
Yes. So Whitney, what's one thing you never said to an ex but you wish you did?
Ooh.
And you don't have to say who the person is or anything about the relationship.
I'm gonna say I'm sorry.
Aww.
I know I took the soft way out, but there's probably more than one person that I probably needed to apologize, and I don't think that I had the self-awareness or the guts or that I wanted to put my ego aside enough to apologize. So if you're listening and I have hurt you or done anything to wrong you, I'm sorry.
Stop laughing.
Yeah, that don't help.
That was a heartfelt moment.
Thanks.
That was good.
Sorry, don't listen to us, listen to Whitney.
Right.
I meant it.
She did.
I'm sorry.
My bad.
Alright. Next, this one is for you.
Okay.
Are you open to interracial dating?
You know what, y'all? I just had this thought the other day that what if God did that to me to be funny? Like, what if God brought a white man who has moved beyond this world shit and he ready to, you know what I'm saying?
So it's a slight open. The door is like crack.
Honestly, I can't see myself doing it. But I don't know what I would do. That's how I'm gonna put it. I don't know what I would do, but I say this: I'm looking for a strong black one. Please come on. Please come on. So it ain't gotta be option.
Period.
Yes.
Okay. This one for you, Amber. Would you be okay with your partner being friends with an ex?
If some boundaries are established, yes.
Okay. Final answer.
Yeah, I mean, if I see some stuff, then we'll address it. If not, if I don't feel like there's, you know, 'cause some people just don't work out in relationships. They don't mean they don't have a good. They don't have a good friendship. So I wouldn't want to like impede on that.
Right.
You know. So.
Okay. So this next one, kind of a funny one, but I do want to hear you guys' honest answer, and anyone can go first. So pretend that we're in the future, you have kids or a child. How would you present the birds and the bees talk to that child?
Ooh. What age are they?
When do you think they're ready?
Oh God.
Well, I kind of
I think they should start learning a little early.
Not too long ago, because I do have a little brother who is 13 now. And we kind of had to start that conversation. And I was he's mature for his age, so I be just talking to him. And so I kind of just presented it like, I don't know what y'all are out here doing, but as a young man, you have the ability to get women pregnant. Like, I just laid it out there. Because I feel like you kind of got to jump to the end goal of sex, because the kids just think about sex as the act of sex without the consequences. Mm-hmm. So I kind of took it there, and we do have a relationship where he wasn't too weirded out. I try to keep it like I'm the cool big sis and whatnot, but I just laid it out there. Like, you can potentially get people pregnant. There are real diseases out here, some that you can get rid of, some that you can't. Like, it's a lot of scary things, and I understand that I learned from sex, like from talking to my friends and stuff. And I didn't learn really what I needed to learn about sex until I was an adult, and I just don't want that to be you. Mm-hmm. So I would rather, when you really want to have these conversations, or when you're really doing this, let's really sit down and kind of talk this out, because I don't want you unprepared for what you're doing. I'm not trying to stop you from what you're doing, but I want you to be prepared for what you're doing.
I think whenever I felt like my child was interested in people, I don't want to say romantically, but when I feel like they started growing attraction for people, like, that's when I kind of start gearing up for that. But I think I would lay it out too, like, you know, I would want to be as real as possible, because I think that's one of the biggest issues, is trying to brush it off and act like it's not something that they're gonna want eventually, right, or look into. So I think I would probably just, like, you know, you'll start to feel a way, and I don't know. Honestly.
Yeah, I think it should start earlier than we think.
Yeah,
even just about how you talk about their body parts.
Yes,
you know, calling it different names can also make it more of a taboo topic when we could just say what it is.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah. I would, and that's kind of where I was trying to go. Like, you know, if it was a girl, it's like, you know, I don't know, it's hard, because I don't want to be.
Because, too, I feel like I'm a little too late with my brother. Not for real, like, but, like, I listen to some of my friends and some of their kids, like, they're like, there was a conversation on one of their, before COVID, her kid was talking to, her daughter was talking to another little boy, and they were just talking about how they had different parts, mm-hmm, and kind of wanting to see each other, and, like, having to separate them two and kind of sit them down and explain to them why it's not okay for y'all to see each other's parts.
Yeah.
But you don't want to strip away their innocence too fast, but you want them to
be informed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know the exact words I would say, but I would try to be as real as possible.
Yeah, I think one thing is, I really believe, like, you'll see things, like, mm-hmm, even like something like my niece, like, my cousin is pregnant right now, so she just keeps being like, how do I have a baby? Mm-hmm. And it's like, damn, I gotta figure out how to have this conversation. She's 6, but I really gotta tell her, you know, one day when you're a woman, you could do this too, but
yeah,
it ain't the time right now. Mm-hmm. And the way that you do that is something that you don't need to do until you're ready. Mm-hmm. You know, like, I don't know how to, I'm a TT, you know what I'm saying? I ain't in mommy mode. But I do feel like we just need to start planting seeds of one of naturalness. We can't get thrown off when they come to us with something like that. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be off my square.
Like,
don't you say it.
You don't need to worry about that right now.
No, I wouldn't approach it like that. Yeah. I would just start planting seeds of normality of certain things. Like, not necessarily always covering up a sex scene on TV, because maybe they'll ask, or maybe I'll stop and be like, Now I see you looking at that. You want to know what that means? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just, you know, that would be me. But.
Yeah, especially because society is speeding up. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to have to speed up and catch up to the times. So,
agreed.
Ooh, shout out to the parents out there.
Woo!
I don't know how y'all do it. These conversations are hard.
Absolutely.
Listen.
Well, that brings us to our next question, another future thinking question of if you had kids. How would you respond if your child told you they wanted to be a different gender? And would your response be different if it was a boy or a girl?
My response wouldn't be different if they told me, excuse me, if they told me they wanted to be a different gender, I would try to, one, ask why, just to kind of see what their head is at, not trying to like, sway them one way or the other, but just trying to see where they're coming from, and basically kind of go from there.
I think it doesn't matter gender for me. I think probably one of the more important things would be the age and how grounded I think my child is within knowing who they actually are. Because my concern would be with a young child, just give like a random example, like I feel like you run the risk, like if a little boy's favorite color is blue and he wants to paint his nails as blue, and I let him do that, and someone tells him that that makes him a woman or that makes him gay or something like that, or that maybe all that he's ever seen are gay or trans men who have blue nails or like do certain things, like those traits. I just want to kind of like really break down to him how like you don't necessarily have to fit in certain boxes or put yourself in certain boxes to be certain things.
Yeah.
So it would just really depend on the child and where they are in the journey.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm going to be supportive. I just want to really make sure that my child is aware of how drastic of a change that really is.
I think first thing first is, I think that you got to be so observant of who that person is. Mm-hmm. Take out the fact that it's a child. It's a whole ass being that I done brought here.
Right.
It's got its own properties and settings. And I need to figure out that. So I'm going to be super observant because I feel like you be knowing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you know. Like there are situations where people up and surprise you. Children or people up and surprise you. And you be like, what? But some of them, you know. You just know. And I don't know where that comes from and how that comes about, you know. But I feel like the sooner I know, if I'm in tune with my child, I can grow them up to be the if that is the route we're going, we're going to grow into that and we're going to know everything about that. Yeah. We're going to know it. If we're growing into that, we're going to know everything about that. So if you're trying to do this for a trend, you're probably going to be tired of your mama for teaching you about this trend that you want. Well, let's talk about how this came about. Let's talk about what was the original thing that was going on around here. And let's also talk about some of the spiritual things that we don't talk about that you could be resonating with, which is why you may feel the way you do. There are angels that had both, you know what I'm saying? We can go there. So I would be supportive, but I'm gonna jump in a different way with the knowledge, because you're not finna be doing this shit on some, you seen somebody do it and it's a fad. So we not doing that. We not doing that. But I think that all comes with, how am I raising you? Who am I putting you around? What are you taking in?
And that was gonna be my next thing that I was gonna add. Like, I would hope that I have cultivated all their interests in a way where even if something like that would happen, I've been giving them that support. Like, I've been giving them that cultivation of self and spirit and knowledge, to where that's not really, it's like, okay, if this is where we're going, like I said, where is this coming? Like, where is this coming from? Why? And let's go from there, you know? So.
Yeah. Y'all gave really good answers. That was good. Okay, we're going to do another rapid fire round. We'll start with you, Amber. Okay. What is a cliche saying that you want people to stop saying?
A cliche saying. Ooh.
You want an example?
I mean, I have examples in my head. I'm just trying to think of what I don't want people to say anymore. But it's not coming to me.
Like for me, I want people to stop saying a certain person is invited to the cookout. Like I feel like that's just like, can you stop doing that?
Yeah.
I'm over that.
I'm over that. I'm over that. I don't know. Come back to me.
Okay.
Come back to me.
All right. Okay, Mo.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be okay with your partner asking you to not wear something because it's too revealing?
Yes. The only reason I say that is because I'm not a naked
anyway.
bitch.
I was gonna say.
You know, I'm not naked most of the time. So if you doing that, you might be a little controlling, sir. Because I don't know where I'm transitioning though. If you know the body get right, and I may put on, you feel me? But
Wait, so are you saying yes, it would be a problem? Or...
yeah, it would be a problem for me right now because I'm not usually showing much.
Right.
To me.
That makes sense.
So I would think, sir, you're being controlling. But I mean, I could see if I took it up a notch, I may could understand him. But nah, you can't say that, bro. Nope.
Okay. Whitney, if you had to create a law that everybody had to follow, what would it be?
Oh my God.
You asked the right one.
I know.
On some really petty stuff, I'm banning ketchup.
Yes! Man, that shit.
Not ketchup. I won't miss it though, so that's cool.
Yeah, like I think we can do better as a society.
I agree.
I think there are better
agree.
options out there.
That's funny.
As a whole, yeah. Like I'm not trying to alienate people or anything, but it's gotta go.
I agree.
And it's not good for you.
Just to throw that.
Yeah.
Right. Just like
I don't like ketchup, so I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a question for everybody. Anybody can chime in. Do you think that we have any great musicians coming from our generation?
Oh, yeah.
And when I say great, I'm saying like legendary, Michael Jackson, Marvin Gaye. Like,
I think her is becoming legendary.
me too.
Yes.
She is encompassing. I mean, besides maybe dancing, I've never seen her dance, so she may not have that aspect of performance, but in all other aspects of talent, musicianship, presence, I mean, I think she's great.
She's a great performer.
She is.
Agreed. She's a good one. You know, I think there are people who are transcending certain things, like talented creator. Like somebody like that who didn't really used to be a fan of. I kind of grew to be like, okay, dude is hard. But I think like every album I listened to him, his did not sound the same. Even this newest one, it had introspection, it had the bop, it had the instrumentation that was crazy, the beats were crazy. Like every part of it, even his performance he did at the BET Awards was crazy.
Yeah.
Like
he had a really fine set. His set was fine.
God, it was sick.
I've seen clips of it though.
Oh my God, it was beautiful. He did a great job. But I would say somebody like him. He was the first person that came to my mind. I think he'll be one of the ones.
I know there are some. I don't know though, because I get concerned sometimes when I wonder like who's gonna make it through this cancel culture, who's gonna make it through like all of these things. Like I think there are several people who have the talent and deserve it. But when I really look to the future, especially the way the society is, I don't know who's gonna make it. Like, I don't know who society is not going to try to crucify before they get there.
Well, I think everybody gonna get crucified at some point. All of them, I feel like, have been
And most of the
crucified
greats
at some point.
at some point.
Yeah.
It might have been
Because
after they died.
another person I was thinking about was Travis Scott. I think he's legendary in his own right, in his little rock star hip hop modality. Like, he's creating a lane for that.
Okay. And I think it can be agreed that, like you said, you didn't really pay attention to the BET Awards and things like that. And those used to be huge things, like, for the culture. So who do you think is to blame for why those, like, big award shows and things that we used to pay attention to a lot when the young artists were performing, why do you think we're not giving it the same attention now?
Just award shows in general?
Yeah, award shows. I mean, concerts is kind of iffy now, especially after COVID. It's kind of hard to compare concerts. But I've just heard a narrative that the people aren't performing like they used to. Like the musicians of our day. Do you agree, disagree?
They're not, but I don't like those kind of comparisons anymore. Because times are changing. Like, I think if that's a narrative I think we have to get out of, is like comparing like like just throwing it like a Nicki to a Lil Kim. Like, they're two different eras, and they transcended their era. Like, they're greats in those eras, and they're not going to be the same, and they don't compare. Like, a lot of times when, even with the verses, like, a lot of my problem with it even is like, these are two different, like, they're in the same genre, but they're so different. Like, for instance, Eve and Trina, like, their music does not compare. And so putting it, I know they're not really battling each other, but we're calling it verses, so people are viewing it in that way. And it's like Trina can't compare it to Eve, and Eve can't compare it to Trina. So I think we should just kind of let that go. Because, I mean, no, they don't perform the way they used to, but also kind of because they don't necessarily have to anymore, and they shouldn't get slighted for that. Like, you know,
I feel like social media too kind of killed that.
I was
because
thinking
like, I feel like there were only a couple of times a year, like, unless you're catching somebody live, you're catching somebody on one of these shows, or like, you can't pull up a video. You couldn't pull up a video and watch them perform whenever you wanted to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was kind of sensationalized. Like, don't get me wrong, the shows were a different caliber and the performances were different, but I think the reason why I fell off was because I can see all of these people on the BET Awards do this exact song anytime I want to.
On they live, on they, you know.
They got to produce content year round.
Yeah.
And two, we haven't humanized celebrities, but to a sense, we kind of have, like, because they're so accessible now.
So that makes that not as grand. That was the only time you would see them together, and now you know everybody who keyed together. You know,
they all linked up at some party last night.
Yeah,
I just saw all the
everybody
pictures.
was at the all white.
Everybody was at Diddy house.
As far as we know, everybody didn't see each other till once a year.
I think too, it's like a lot of transition happened with these platforms. Like, for instance, BT then had several owners, and they changed up their marketing, and they rebranded and things like that. And I think that when you bring in new people, or you switch out people or whatever, like, you lose something. Like, if you're not bringing in the right type of people. Because, see, this one I felt like, and I didn't even watch the full thing, the performances were better.
I did too.
The performances were much better. So I think that a few mess ups for a few years may get them back too. Because I think the artists are realizing too that they have to hold something off from the people and bring it out at times like that. Like, I'll give an example. I never used to like how the City Girls performed. But I watched them grow to a point where, y'all, I'm the ugliest person alive. But I dropped a tear on one of their performances. I forgot what they was on. I did. I dropped the tears.
I know. I was proud of them too. Also
I
because I
mean-
follow the choreographer. So I
Well,
was
yeah,
like,
Sean
I'm
is
here
my
for it.
guy.
I love him.
Perfect. That was the perfect person to give them. And Missy just did their video. Like,
Yes.
they've done a 360 as far as
Yeah.
performance.
Mhm.
I feel like just talked about Tyler. Oh God, his performance was amazing. It was like they don't deserve this. How the people sat there,
Mm-hmm.
man. Listen, I wouldn't have been able to contain myself from that performance. It was sick. So I think that I think the artists are getting a little smarter too. They know that they're humanized. They know that people see them all the time. So you may need to go hide for a little while like Cardi, because you having the baby too, whatever, and then come out and perform at the. That felt good for us because we ain't seen her. She
Right.
pop out with the belly. It's just all a thing. So I
Yeah.
think we gotta kind of take that back in a sense and get to work like the city girls. They grew like Meg. She still need work, but
People got to catch up to the times.
yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. And I think Meg, choreographer, is really helping her out too. He used to work with Beyonce, but that's just because I be following them a little too deep.
Okay.
But
I'm waiting.
keeping on the topic of musicians, do you feel like you could separate the art from the artist?
Yes, I do. I
think
do.
you have to.
You do have to, because it like we said, if we're humanizing these people, sometimes a lot of times your art comes from a place that is beyond you. So I can't necessarily demonize you for something I don't agree with in your personal life, because I don't know you personally. Honestly, like, I don't know you personally. All I know is your art. So that's what I'm grasping a hold to. Now, when your art changes and I don't align with that anymore, that's a different story. But I try really hard to separate my love for somebody's art versus my love for the person, because I have to remind myself that I do not know this person. I don't know this person.
Yeah, people forget that real quick.
Yeah. I think you do. I think me as an artist, I want you to separate it. Separate it. I think that I strive really hard for it to be the same. I think I do that on my own. But I think that I could fuck up at any point. So I would rather you just separate it right now so that we don't have no issue. But I think that's just something, because listen, when a woman's fed up, gonna have to get played. You feel me?
And then it's like, to piggyback
Just an
off of
example.
that,
I mean, I know.
sometimes you don't realize how intertwined people's art goes, like how deep it runs. So when you try to start canceling people and like not supporting them anymore because of things that they've done in their personal life, I don't think people really look into how deep that can go. Like, since you brought up R. Kelly, like, when I started looking at his catalog and all the people he worked with, whether it was he wrote for them, like whatever it was, I was like, I'm not about to stop playing these songs just because he want to do some fuck shit. Like, I'm sorry. I don't agree with the behavior at all, but these songs mean something totally different for me. Now, am I finna just start streaming his album every day? No. But I'm not.
Am I going to his concert if he get out of jail? No.
But I'm not about to like stop listening to things that mean something to me.
Yeah. And I feel like you'll go down a rabbit hole trying to cancel every single thing that they do.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
I just feel like too, the more that I've learned about myself and like creating within myself, I realize like how tied like some of the most beautiful things that I've created, like a lot of times they're tied to a lot of the more traumatic and dark things in my life. So I realize like some of these people's minds, to be as great as they are to create such beautiful things, they are probably like as above, so below. So like it probably goes as deep on that bottom end as it does on the top end of the beauty of their work. So to mind my business, I have to separate the two. But I do acknowledge that it probably, with beauty comes pain.
Yeah. And as a listener of you guys, creative content. I know you guys did an episode on average at best. So this question kind of plays into that. Do you think that pretty privilege is a form of privilege that we should strive to eradicate?
Wow. I don't know if it should be eradicated. I don't know.
I'll say this. I will say that it's worked in my favor and I didn't know it. Because I'm so normal or humble or whatever. Like, but I don't know if I'm gonna start a protest or band up against eradicating somebody getting off because they pretty. Because I just feel like my thing is one day you're gonna have to use your mind, and then what happens? See, I've exercised that, so I know when I go up against you, all you got is that. So, well, and it's not even a go up against thing, but you get what I'm saying? Like, if somebody gonna compare us, okay, she cute, okay, ask her a question. And then go deeper. Ask her another one. Like, you get what I'm saying? I'm not even trying to be mean, but I'm saying, and that doesn't mean you're not educated because, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean you're not smart because you're pretty or whatever. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I've ran into situations where women got opportunities that I did not because they were aesthetically supposed to probably be more pretty than me, but they dumb as a rock.
Yeah.
So that's how I judge that and just say, hey.
Yeah, I feel like us as a society, we have to put emphasis on better things. Like, because that's what creates a pretty privilege. Like, people choosing aesthetics to be the thing that they judge people off of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, eradicate, it's a little strong. But I feel like, too, life is the great equalizer. Like, if all you got is pretty privilege, you can be humbled in a second.
I'm gonna say this too. Then people can't help it. You know how a lot of times people will say like, you get light skin privilege. I'd be like, what the fuck is you talking about? I come from Lewisburg, Tennessee, baby. If you black, you black. That's a different story. But I know how people can see that is if I'm the only black person on something, they're like, but you're in your light, it just looks like that.
Yeah.
But so they can't help it that they pretty. That's another thing. They came out like that. They mom and daddy made them like that. So, you know, I don't want to say eradicate. It's more about eradicating what Whitney said, the behavior with the people who are making decisions and deciding what standards are and deciding who becomes what. Those are the people we need to eradicate how they...
Yeah, because when you start talking like that, it's like, so am I supposed to turn down the opportunity because I feel like they gave it to me because I'm prettier? I'm supposed to be like, no, don't give it to me. No, give it to them. Like, I mean...
Give it to the ugly girl.
I feel like it kind of goes both ways. Like, because I feel like the same people, like there are people who are gonna like you because you're pretty, and there are people that are gonna be mad because they think that you're pretty.
Withhold, you can get withheld things because they feel like you don't deserve it because she probably been getting better. You know, it's like what? You know, just it's simple as like people like I know you got hoes. I know you got hoes. I'm like, no, I don't.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. Are you guys familiar with the term respectability politics?
No.
Okay, so respectability politics is basically anything that, say, an oppressed group, you have an oppressed group and you look to your oppressor to kind of treat you better because you act a little bit better than the rest of the oppressed group. Ooh. So like, say like in a corporate setting, for instance, the episode of Insecure where Molly was in the office and it was a black girl who came in and she was loud and walking around and she was like, don't act like that because, we in this setting. That's kind of like a form of respectability politics, kind of like you need to act a little bit better so they can, treat you the right way. So when you're in oppressed, but they feel like you being treated a better way, you should be treated a better way because you act better than the rest of the oppressed people.
Okay.
So that's like what respectability politics is.
Okay.
So the question is, do you think that respectability politics is holding back the progression of Black people? And like another way to think, well, I don't want to like sway your opinion, but I would say like one argument like against respectability politics is like in situations of police brutality, people will kind of try to justify it by saying
you
shouldn't have been dressed that way, or you shouldn't have looked suspicious, you know, something like that. That's like another form of respectability politics.
I kind of was gonna say in a way, yes. I'm kind of torn in between the two, because I think on a basic level, when you know better, you have to do better. And I think at the same time, we gotta stop like the internal judgment is what is keeping us behind. Like judging each other all the time, saying this is better than that, and so on and so on, causes division, which causes, you know, so all of that in itself, I think that's just kind of like, I don't know if I would say that it may be a contributing factor.
Okay.
It may be a contributing
And then another example I just thought of, just to make it even more clear, like the whole debate right now about bonnets, whether or not it's appropriate to wear bonnets in public. Like that's another respectability politics thing.
Because even to that, I mean, it's like, who really cares? Like, I mean, I think you should always, yes, present yourself in the best way possible, but I don't think that has anything to do with necessarily how people see, because of how people see you. I think just when you feel good and you look good, like when you look good, you feel good. So if you're presenting yourself in the best way possible, you probably will act as so. Like, but I don't think I don't need to wear a bonnet because people looking at me. Like, I mean, I don't wear one in public, but that's just me. Like, that's just my personal preference. But I don't judge anybody who does. I don't feel like it's that big of a deal.
Do y'all think these respectability standards that we put on Black people, I guess, even within the Black community, not necessarily anybody outside of, do you think that's holding back the progression of us as a people?
I would say I definitely, like Amber said, I think it's a contributing factor. I think it's a tool for division. You know, I have been embarrassed by my people, but they my fucking people. You see what I'm saying? I got a cousin who will wear her bonnet anywhere. I got a grandmama who'll cuss anybody out anywhere. I have a mama who'll get drunk and show her breasts somewhere. Like, I have these things that, you know, I'm looking sometimes like, oh, God, can we get some? Oh, but them is my people, and you're not finna talk about them. And you're not finna disown them, and you're not finna treat them a different way because they like this. Because the thing is, we gotta think, why? Why did that lady walk in that office like that? Maybe that's all she knew. And maybe it ain't her goal to get to where you at. Maybe her goal was to just get in the door. And that's fine. Everybody don't want to rise up with them peoples. I know I could care less about rising up with them peoples. So you got to think about that too. Not everybody's mission is the same. Like, yes, I understand that the overarching thing might be that you may receive more opportunities, or they may look at you in a different light, or whatever, and then they may look down on me because it's really you trying to save your ass. Because you know, it's a difference. If I tell my mother to stop doing something that embarrassed me, or somebody in my family, anybody to stop doing something that I feel like is embarrassing, I don't even say that it's embarrassing me. I say, Mama, have some respect about yourself, baby. That's how I'm coming at her with it. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody looking. It's got to do with what's going on internally, and make you think that you need to raise your shirt up in here. You get what I'm saying? So I think that it's a
deeper rooted issue.
It causes division that's just unnecessary. I think that there's a way, like, Monique, when she said tapping them on the shoulder or whatever, like you need to tap them on the shoulder or whatever, I do think we need to tap people on the shoulder sometime.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
because we all we got.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's a way to do that, and typically, I think it should be somebody
You know. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I feel like the big picture is like the oppressor in a sense is gonna put everybody in the same category.
Period.
Regardless.
Period.
Regardless.
And I think that's kind of goes back to you saying it's a deeper rooted issue, and you trying to save your ass because you thinking that we bringing you down. When, I mean, regardless or not, at the end of the day, when it boils down to it, we're all on the same level. Like, if they got to choose them over us, they going to choose them.
Yes.
Every time.
It ain't gonna matter how many times you didn't wear your bonnet, and how many times you didn't curse, and how many times you didn't roll your eyes, bitch.
Yeah.
You on the boat, too.
The opinion with us was already made before that happened.
Yep.
Like, I think it speaks more to internal issues with our core values and us getting away from community and like really trying to help each other,
Yeah.
as opposed to just worried about how we look to other people.
And I think sometimes when you really sit and talk to people, you will realize that they really don't know better. And I think I saw that a lot, like, in those kind of discussions, especially with her about, like, she's grown, she a grown woman. If everyone in her family does that, what makes you think she know better than that? What makes you think she knows better than that? If everybody in her community has their ass out, like, she's probably going to have her ass out and not think anything of it. So, it's the same thing, like.
Yeah. Okay, this is another question, just a general question. Take it however you interpret it. What spaces do you think should be kept exclusive, and what spaces do you think should be more inclusive?
Metaphorically, the cookout should be more exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop passing out them invitations. I don't know if all of our people are getting an invitation, if we're going to be honest, while we opening it up to outsiders.
Okay.
I'll go ahead. I think course of action should be exclusive. I think a lot of times we talk out loud about what we gonna do as people, and that's just already setting the trap. Like, like
That's a good one.
we don't even need to talk about, like, okay, if the plan is to black out your damn Instagram, which I think that's some shit anyways, don't really do nothing. But if we're gonna all black out, why would it be on the TL? Like, why would it be on the TL? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So I feel like if any strategy is being made to counter correct anything, even like them literally making flyers for the protest. Like, I don't think it's no time for nobody to make no damn flyer.
Yeah.
Like, it's not time for, like, the most we can do, we can make a little poster to show up with it. But, I mean,
Text it to your group.
Yeah, like, we gonna get that together. And, like, I think those things should start to be exclusive if we want them to
Make an
impact. Yeah.
Because I think about how some of the boycotts got undermined by, like, huge sales. Like, because they knew this boycott is happening on this day, we're going to have these huge sales the day before and the day after and make up our sales. Okay, then we didn't really hurt their pocket.
Yep. Yeah. I can't think of anything that needs to be more inclusive. I think
we give everything.
I was gonna say the society right now is I had this battle even with work of like not trying to lose. We don't want to lose a customer. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. We don't want to and it just so everything's all open. We got to make room for everybody.
Yeah.
And in a sense, yes, we do, but there's ways to do that without just
being disingenuous.
Yes, it's and
meeting the quota in the sense.
Yeah, there's ways to be inclusive without just letting anything fly, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
And maybe a little more inclusion within the community. Like, I feel like as a community, we are very segmented, and there are a lot of cliques and groups and people who like to hoard information amongst our own people. Like, I think that's where we need inclusion. Like, we need to educate our people better as a whole. It does not serve us well if there is a very elite group of people who are hoarding the resources and the community building and the knowledge that all of our people need to start trying to elevate out of some of this stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I could definitely agree with that.
Same.
Okay. I think I'm gonna wrap it up with this one. Kind of an introspective one. Do you think you've ever blocked a blessing or been in a situation where it was right person, wrong time? Or if you don't even want to think of it person-wise, just like right situation, wrong time.
I try to abide by what's for me is not gonna miss me. I do think I get in my own way sometimes, not maybe necessarily with people, but like with certain opportunities. But even with those, I think there is a right, like the time is gonna come. Like if it didn't happen right now, I wasn't ready or I didn't take the steps that I needed to. And I may have blocked my blessing in that way. But I don't know.
I can't think of any situation where I feel like I blocked a blessing. Kind of for the same reasons as Whitney. Like, and even if it may have seemed that way at the time, in retrospect, it was necessary. So, what you thinking?
I was trying to go opposite of y'all because y'all both acting like y'all ain't never blocked.
Well, I can't think of anything in particular.
Even though we know, like you said, everything is for a reason, I felt like my first college decision was wrong, but it was right because I did okay. Internally and for my journey, it was absolutely correct, but for the world standard, it was absolutely wrong. So I felt like I was at the right place at the right time, just wrong shit going on. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I could say the same about my college experience because I didn't have any real, and that's kind of been a trending problem throughout my life, but like no real interest. Like I didn't really sit down and think about where I wanted to go. Even that just whole ordeal about what I wanted to do, I let a lot of outside factors limit me, yeah, basically. And so that kind of pushed me, but then to the same extent it worked out in the end because I wouldn't be where I am if I would, like, I think about all the time, if I never had went to chat, like, then I wouldn't even know them. So yeah, you know,
same. Wouldn't know you. Wouldn't have started an organization. Wouldn't have done none of that. But I may would have a job right now in another degree.
Yeah. Okay, so I actually do have one more question. So I consider you guys to be pretty conscious people. So since becoming conscious, what has been most fulfilling? And do you think it's easy to become jaded after being conscious for so long?
Oh, yes. That is like the probably biggest thing to overcome after becoming conscious is being jaded, because you kind of hate everything. Everything disgusted me the more I learned. Like, and I felt defeated with it's like, what's the point? What's the point if everything is a lie? If everything is it's like, what is the point? So I was very jaded, and I mean, it still gets me every now and then, like, especially when shit is coming out all the time. It's like, what the, come on, like, this is retarded. But to the grand, now I even forgot the.
It was just like, do you think it's easy to become jaded after becoming conscious for so long? And then what part of being conscious has been most fulfilling? Okay,
that part is what I forgot. Okay, but what's been most fulfilling about becoming conscious is in retrospect, the accountability I have for myself. Because before I didn't advocate for myself or believe in myself the way I do now. And even though I kind of find myself in a circle of getting down on myself, because I just went through this yesterday, about where I am and where I'm trying to go, that in itself is accountability, because I see that there's a block. So it's frustrating because it's like, I know there's a block there, but before I didn't know that there was a block.
So, yeah.
I'm not ready.
For me, I think diving into consciousness, jaded was my first reaction. Like, I would say I almost had to not stop my journey, but I had to pause my journey almost immediately, because I'm a person who likes to take in an extreme amount of information. Like, I'm a big researcher, I'm a huge, and so like I jumped in heavily and became extremely jaded. Like, it stirred up a lot of anger and a lot of frustration and a lot of hurt in me. And it made me want to hate everything and everybody. Like, I felt like I had been lied to my whole life. I questioned the people that love me, and like, there ain't no way that ain't nobody else thought about this and question these things. And y'all just telling me all of this, like everything is fact. And if I'm raising too many questions, I'm getting looked at crazy. And so I think that kind of led me to what I feel like has probably been the most rewarding part. I had to stop kind of my journey of looking at the world through that lens and take a moment to really get to know myself, so I could have enough like knowledge of self to be able to withstand taking on that huge amount of information. And so I didn't lose myself in that, because I feel like it is very easy to like dive in and be overwhelmed and just let that fury and rage take over you, and sometimes not necessarily have a direct outlet for that if you don't know yourself well enough to channel that. So I think the self-awareness that came with it is probably the most rewarding part.
Yeah, jaded for sure. Cynical. It's a few other words I can use. My professor called me cynical, and I probably was very, very cynical at the time. However, that was my worldview at the time, bitch, and this is an opinion paper. But anyway,
she was hot, if you can't tell.
I was. I think that it's okay. Like, you know how they say you got the stages of grief, you got the stage of this, you got the stage of that. Stages of consciousness. I'm gonna write about that one day. But I think that's a period for everybody who goes through it. The way my transition happened was I went from the first, I feel like, note of consciousness were black studies, things about black people, things about what we've been through and all of that. Of course, I got trauma in my body from ancestors who done dealt with this, so that's raising that up. The next step was a little more spiritual and kind of letting go of certain religious things and this and that. That was even darker, because that was where all my hope came from. That was where the light came from. So that was another level of jade. Then when you move on to the other aspect of how many different places this exists in and the conflicting information, it made me jaded, because how the fuck can I learn what Buddha and them did over here? How can I figure out what they doing in ancient Egypt? How can I figure out what they doing right here in America? It was so many different things. And I think it made me upset that it was like, I'm not humanly made to take in all this information like this. Like, it got to that point. But I mean, I think that's just a part of the process. Conscious people or people on your journey, I think that's a part of the process. I think you need to get jaded. You need to.
Also, the other level of jaded is wanting everyone around you to know the information.
Yes. And what you realize is some of them gonna get up out of here and never get even a tiny bit of it. And I think for me, I had just told y'all about that. Like, for instance, I didn't know I was different, and I'm not even saying that to be self-centered or anything, but I know I am, because I was taking in this information at a rate that was insane, and I could still spit a lot of it back to you, but I would be mad if I tell her, and she would be like, what? Like, I'm like, bruh, this shit is crazy. Like, can you believe that Saturn is like, I'm going in, like, and I couldn't understand. I was like, what is wrong with you? And I was hurt because I was like, I am telling you shit that could change your life, not realizing, bruh, it's so much more. And we're on two different times. Yeah,
but not even now all the time. You're just on two different journeys. So at the time where she was experiencing her first wave of consciousness, I was on a
whole different frequency.
I was on a different frequency at that time. It wasn't that I didn't hear her. It wasn't that I didn't support her. Right. I don't even know if, well, I mean, in essence, yes, I wasn't ready to receive it, but I was trying. It just didn't.
Like, that might not be the way that you received it.
It didn't convict me the same. It didn't click. Like her modality, a lot of the time is listening. It took me reading things to get that same thing. Right. Yep. So that would be a best. It's like, I already told you that, and I'm like, well, I mean,
and that would piss me off too, because bitch, I told you this 2 years ago. I told you this. But then I had to realize that we're different. But the most fulfilling thing has been, man, I'm in control of this shit. I tell you what, it ain't too many things. Like, yes, there are some things that happen outside of our control, but only meaning to a certain extent.
Well, I think
to a certain extent, because there's things like weather. I don't got a heart machine, so I can't control that. You feel me? I ain't gotta, I can't tell what the weather gonna do. I can't tell what other people's actions will be necessarily. But if I model mine in a certain way, everything around me reflects that back. So I'm still in control. So I think it's the power you have in knowing that, it's on you. It's on you. And that feels good, because when I was leaning on something else to be that, whether that was a certain career, whether that was a certain love for my family that I wasn't getting, whether that was a certain the church, wherever that was at, it always left me bereft. It always left me empty. This is the only thing that's never left me empty.
And all other things I was leaning on, I never measured up. But to this I do, because I know that I have, if nothing else, now I know I have the capability. It's just about unlocking it, and walking into it, and aligning myself with those things that I can have,
and healing properly, and maturing properly, because you were young coming into this too.
I was extremely young, and I was too immature. Like, I had to mature myself very quickly, because I realized, like, I'm too immature to take on all of this information the way I'm taking it on. I dived in hard, quick, and young. And I was like, I need to take a step away and really ground myself in who I am and mature myself to where I can actually handle this. Because I don't know where that would have took me. Like, I can't imagine me continuing down that journey as I was. I would have been one of those crazy people, or like one of those people who did something radical and drastic.
Also, I think what we got to realize about people that when you said radical and drastic, I think there are people who stop on the consciousness train type. They don't get past the jaded, so they just end up there. You get what I'm saying? They don't get past the phase where you let go of what happened with your family or whatever pain. They don't make it, so they just stop right there. That doesn't mean they don't have the ability anymore. They just kind of get stuck there, because it's so hard to move out of that. It's so hard to get yourself beyond that little whatever that is.
Initially, I didn't have the maturity to rise above it. I didn't. Like, and I realized, I'm thankful that I had enough self-awareness in that time to realize, oh, I don't have the maturity to rise above this as I am. So I had to take a step away, do a little work on myself, really look at some of my trauma and what made me who I am, and why do I feel this rage and things inside. And then I was equipped with the tools that I needed to really rise above and not just stop there at that level.
And I was going to say, based on what you were saying, like, as a child, you deserve that opportunity to have that childhood wonder, that blissful ignorance for a certain period of time. At least that's how I feel. I feel like that's okay for that to be a period, but you know. The journey is gonna come.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
What aspects of life affect your self-discipline the most?
Oh my God.
And what aspect is most affected by self-discipline? So kind of the same thing.
What aspect of my life is
Affecting your self-discipline the most?
social media?
Mm.
Social media. All the
Senseless?
not senseless, but sensualization. I don't know if that's
Sensationalism.
sensationalism. Thank you,
Yes,
Lord.
I got you.
All the sensationalism, the comparison, and like it just gets hard because you get caught up so easily in what everyone is putting out there, because we never know how true it is. So what everyone is putting out there can get me in my feelings sometimes, and then that affects my self-discipline.
I think just the fact that being called for more.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard because that means I call for low too,
Mm-hmm.
So as high as I go, I gotta go low too. I gotta go to the trenches with trauma, with hurt, with pain, with overcoming things. I think that's the hardest part of life. That definitely affects my discipline because before I can progress, most of the time I have to try to overcome something so low or so big. Like, damn, every time we gotta go this low.
Yeah.
But every time we go higher and higher and higher. So it's like, I think that I need to be reminded of that. When I can't get in the flow of discipline or focus that I'm looking for, I just need to be reminded of that part. But I think that part of life, like, damn, like, if we call for more, that means we gotta, like Whitney was saying earlier, like, we gotta go low too. So that's the hardest part about my discipline. Like,
I think it's something that I feel like I kind of battle with overcoming, but it's like failure. Because, failure isn't really a thing, but I think sometimes I still want to view it as that. Like, when I know that you can't tell me that there's certain things that I'm not trying harder or doing more and, like, giving everything my all, and for it to not turn out the way that I want to. Sometimes I get in these, like, defeated cycles of where it's like,
Nothing
I
good enough.
know. I know what I'm capable of, and I just cannot seem to rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
And it eats me up. So, and I feel like sometimes that makes me not want to do things. Like,
why even try?
Yeah, like, and having to break that cycle, I feel like it's a cycle that I've put myself into more times than I.
well, and I think, truth be told, what leads us to a lot of these situations is the lack of self-discipline. You know what I'm saying? You get led to not seeing your vision all the way through because you should have been working on it 6 months ago.
Yep.
You get led to that because you shouldn't be scrolling that long, that days and that shit anyway. I get like that because I know what I gotta do and I still don't be doing it. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's the lack of self-discipline.
That's what I said. The self-discipline is the real issue.
It is.
Like, all the rest of this are the side effects of it.
Exactly. Yep.
Because if I was doing what I was supposed to do, first, it wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Have you ever astral projected? If so, what was your experience like?
This what you thought was the sex thing?
No, I just didn't know what it was. I was just throwing out a random thing. I was saying that to be funny. I didn't necessarily think that's what it was.
I don't think I have. I don't think I've astral projected yet.
I can't verify.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know for
I done
sure.
done some weird shit that wasn't normal about the earth, but recently with me being a little more sober, something is happening.
Yeah.
Something's happening where I'm not here all the time, but I don't know. Something is happening. The soberness does bring dreams back, and I'm going somewhere.
And it's weird because for me, I daydream a lot. So as I got more into consciousness, I started to wonder if that's what I have been doing all this time and not being aware of that. So I don't know.
What exactly was the question again?
Have you ever astral projected?
And that was it?
Yeah.
And if so, what was your experience like?
Okay. I think I have to an extent. It's not a new thing, but it is a much more newer, frequent thing. The experience is very weird and surreal, and it, like, for me, it's been a little bit of violence snapping back to reality. Like, it feels like a tearing of, like, not knowing where I'm at. Like, have you ever experienced something that felt so real and like, but you know, like, there are things that key you into where you know this can't be real right here, right now. Like, there's no possible way that this could be real
It's
right
like
here.
Lovecraft Country.
That's a
Well, I think, like, for me, sometimes I think an example would be when I sleep, if I'm sleep talking. So, because there'll be times where and that is what snaps me back, because her response lets me know that I was not tuned in. Yeah. So, I don't know. That's why I can't say I don't know for sure, because.
Well, I think we probably need to learn more of the mechanics.
Yeah. I was just saying, and that's why I don't know.
Because I haven't sat down and, like, tried to astral project either. What I will say, though, on my first shroom trip, I felt like I did something where I left my body. And I seen it and I felt it. But I did come back in my body, but it was the craziest thing ever, because the reality of it was I didn't have control anymore. I did not have none of this. I couldn't do anything with my body except whatever was happening in my head. But I still was aware that I was in a car riding. You get what I'm saying? So I probably have. And it's crazy as hell. Just make sure you ground yourself enough to come back.
Yeah.
But more about that later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so there's like all these movements popping up here and there. As a Black woman, do you stand with women first for being women before standing with Black men?
Let's go.
If not, do you judge Black women who do?
Let's go.
Standing with being a woman before Black men?
Do you stand with being a woman first before standing with Black men?
I don't. Because I believe in balance, and I think no matter what your worldview is, there is balance in the man and the woman. And I think that has nothing to do with sexuality. That has nothing to do with any of that. Just on a basic relationship, relating level, man and woman are necessary.
Yeah.
I feel like our topic that we were gonna get to that we didn't, like, I'm Black first.
Yeah.
Like, two, if you really want to talk about it in today's society, I can change my gender at any given moment. I can't change being Black.
Yeah.
I can't identify as nothing else. If you look at me and you see me, I am Black. So I have to stand with my other Black people at all times. Two, I feel like I'm more oppressed as a Black person than I am as a woman. Two, you got movements devoted to women's issues, even though I think those issues aren't necessarily geared towards, or if nothing else, I think in the priority as a Black woman,
it's not at the top.
Yeah, like a lot of the issues that some of those women only geared fights are, they don't affect me as soon as me being Black does. So I mean, it's Black first. I'm standing with my Black men.
For sure.
Yep, I ain't even gonna turn up Black first. I ain't even gonna turn up on them. Black first.
You said let go. I thought you
Y'all said it. Y'all said it. Black first.
Period.
Yeah.
Okay. Still looking. If you have to choose, will you choose love or your career?
She gonna choose love.
What you gonna choose?
Career? What you talking about? Oh, boy. Love, man, love.
I mean, I'm picking love, but I feel like I want both.
Right.
But I feel like I'm gonna get both because I want my career to be in what I love.
Well, see, I didn't look at the question as limited.
Not at all.
If I'm choosing love, I'm choosing love of
Oh.
the things I do, love of you, love of this. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
idea of career is slowly starting to fade for me.
I've never had a career.
I've spent my
What is
life
a
being
career?
geared
What
towards
you said?
career, but that's faded away. Like I got disillusioned from
Yeah,
career.
same. And I think my definition of love includes that. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I love what I do.
Okay. Do you think, well, let me start over. Are you using the full power of your influence? And do you want to?
Who I battle with that a lot because
You know we ain't. Go on, tell the
Yeah.
truth.
yeah.
And the second part is, do you want to?
It's a battle because I do because I know when I sit and think about it, I know the impact of my very being. When I have to be real with myself and strip away all the insecurities, it's like I know who I am as a person is needed. And even though I may have to be told that 1,000 times, I do know that. It's just hard because you get in this space like I don't want to be seen, but I do, but I don't, because honestly I don't want to be judged, and that's kind of where it roots at. Like I don't want to be judged, but we're at this point. I think it speaks to all of us. We're at this point where that can't be the limit, like because it's inevitable.
What's the question?
Are you using the full power of your influence, and do you want to?
No, I'm not, and yes, I do, and I'm about to.
Period.
Definitely not. I think it's always scared me. It's always scared me a lot. Like you were talking about feeling different. Like I've always felt different. I feel like my journey has been different, but I feel like everybody probably feels that way. But like the thought of using my full influence used to terrify me, and it still does to an extent. But I realize if greatness is what I want, there's no other route. There is no other route.
And I think mine's a little different because I never thought I was different. So I didn't have that same experience where I knew I was different. I always felt like I was the B-side. Like I always felt like the friend in the background. Like I always felt like the behind the B-side, the behind the scenes person. Like because things, which is also why I have to be reminded a lot of times, because the things that do make me great are a lot of times natural to me, so I don't see the greatness in it, or I didn't before.
Yeah.
So.
Too, I feel like I be feeling like it ain't my job to prove to everybody that I'm all that I am. Like I know that. I know it.
That's good.
Ego.
It is. It is. It absolutely is.
Because it was never yours anyway. See, that's the thing. See,
it was my gift to give to the world.
Yes. And that's what I was about to get to about like why I feel like it's the time now is because it's not for you. It's not yours. And the more you hoard it, the more your ego grows. And that shit is dangerous. Your ego is here for you to use it and get the fuck on up away from it. Because it'll keep you thinking like people owe you something for being this, or they have to, you know what I'm saying? And that's not even the case.
Yep.
So if I'm not even giving the gift that I've been given, then why am I even expecting anything back as well? Like,
why do I have it?
Yep.
I feel the same way. Is there any amount of money, like a dollar amount, that will make you feel wealthy?
No.
I can't think of a dollar amount because in my higher consciousness, I know that wealth is a state of mind. So
I don't got a dollar amount either because I don't know nothing about money. Amber had to break down what $1 million was to me the other day. I said, but this is what happens to people like me who never concern myself with. I told Bekah that I was like, Bekah, somebody be my manager and tell them what these checks supposed to be because I don't know, but I know I'm worth it, but I don't know what that looks like. I don't even know what $1 million is, baby. Like I ain't. Yeah. So I think that to me would make me if the resources have appeared. It ain't even necessarily the dollar amount. Did we get the resources we need to make this shit flip again and again and again? Whether that's land, whether that's
visions come through.
Yeah, like I'm cool with that. Less than a dollar amount. Have the resources subsided from our gifts that we've given? Have we gotten back our bounty in a sense? Like, and it don't gotta be cash.
Yeah.
And two, I feel like the dreams and the visions and the goals right now are way bigger than the funds. And I feel like it's going to only continue to be that way. Yeah. That's the only way for you to continue to obtain them. Like, so I don't think it'll ever be like, I made it.
Yeah. And that's like the way our minds work anyway. Like, once we get a certain amount, we're going to always want more. Always think that there's more for us to gain. So you'll never be satisfied, especially if you're just chasing a dollar amount.
Sure. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I ain't even gonna go there, but yeah.
And I was listening to this other, like, little video clip, and it was saying, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was basically saying, like, in entrepreneurship, I think it is important to strive to have the funds because you want to have yourself taken care of. But once you have yourself taken care of, it's important to keep going so you can give to other people. So, like, the goal shouldn't be just to keep hoarding, but to surpass your goals so you can have what you need and then be able to provide to others. So
yeah, I can't when I was in Dallas and I visited the African American Museum, they have an exhibit going on right now called Men of Change, and one of the men, I can't think of his name, I'm so sorry, but he has donated half of his net worth to just community development, charity, all of that. And I thought that was amazing because it's not about it's not about the dollar amount. Because I mean, at some point, if all you have is there's only so much you can do with the dollars. Like, there's only so far you can go.
Do women prefer the problems that come with a man who cheats over the problems that come with a man who is faithful?
What?
I don't want no problems.
And then he said that this is opinion. I think they may feel as though the problems that come with a man who cheats may be easier to deal with or compartmentalize. This relates back to how in the old days, in Africa, the way of culture was that a man could have as many wives as he could take care of. Maybe women today draw a connection of some sort of, maybe today some women draw some sort of ancestral connection to that. Obviously, everyone has different perspectives of cheating, but I think this may have something to do with why cheating has become normalized in our society.
Damn, I
think women might be intimidated by the problems that come with a man who is faithful, even though they proclaim that's what they want. This also makes me think about how one woman said that she believed that men didn't have the capacity to love women. Specifically talking about cheating or faithfulness, I feel as though this type of mindset never gives men a chance to begin with. It puts them in a box and only gives them one option. Essentially backs them into a corner. What do we expect them to do? A man who cheats will do just that, and a man who is faithful will quite possibly become insecure. How many women have this same mindset? But the original question is, do women prefer the problems that come with the man who cheats over the problems that come with the man who is faithful?
It was a few things in there that done got me already.
Yeah. God.
One, I ain't never thought about the fact that something spiritually or DNA or something could be going on with women being okay with cheating. I never thought about that.
I never thought about that either.
But we do be saying.
I never thought of it as like a spiritual thing. I just thought of it people did have to be okay with it because they needed a man, and if a man was
Well, I say spiritual is because it's been
generation.
So it comes through some DNA shit
and
at that point.
Just
like,
a topic now kind of trending on Twitter where it was like men now have to finally be liked. Like only the past 2 or 3 generations have actually had to really like the men they was with.
That's true. That's
and
true.
Then the other deep thing you just said, what was the last point about the
putting them in a box?
No, and they become insecure.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've heard, in the opposite of that, I've heard men say, most of y'all want the nigga that is wanted.
Yeah,
You
that
know
is
what I'm
true.
saying?
Like, a man who cheats will do just that, and a man who is faithful will quite possibly become insecure.
Oh Lord, why you want either one then? I
want the honest man.
Yeah, like I don't need.
Well, because see, my rebuttal would be most of the men who are cheating can't afford all the women that they cheating with. So we can't go like that. Ancestral African shit ain't flying with that because y'all can't afford all these bitches y'all be fucking with.
No, but that don't mean men ain't gonna keep happening because if it's,
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying. I'm just
they
saying.
can't.
But I think that's very intriguing. But also to what Whitney says, like, just be honest. A lot of the times we are going to stay anyway. So you might as well just tell me what you're doing. Like, I don't know.
Sure, because too, like, I feel like you're already kind of phrasing this question in the traditional monogamous sense of a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Like, out the gate. Because the fact that it's cheating, like, are you in a relationship? Like, what type of relationship do you have?
Right.
Could there be being with other people and it not necessarily be cheating?
Yeah.
In the relationship.
Yeah.
Like, I think tying it to these, like, trying to make these societal structures of these relationships is what's leading to this conflict. Because if the mindset is changed around the whole thing, you don't come, like, I think that aspect of it can be removed. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because people are proving that they can be in a relationship with more than one person and have an agreement and the communication where they're okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people have enough self-awareness or honesty and things like that in their relationships to survive that in this current, well, I'm not going to say a lot of people, but I do think that's the minority. The people that can maneuver that way.
Because the amount of healing that you had, like the amount of skills that it would take to make that work are not taught. So
there we go.
So we can't really even get into that conversation because there's a lack to begin with. So everything is thrown off. Like communication is not taught properly, so there's a lack in that. Proper love is not taught properly. There's a lack in that. Intimacy. All of these things are not taught, and for some reason we just think that we're supposed to know these things.
Just figure it
so
out.
that's where the disconnect comes in.
I think so too.
I guess my final answer to the question would be I would choose the issues of being with someone who is faithful, but I don't know. I can't say that I would never ever be with someone who cheats on me or stay with someone who cheats on me, but I feel like I will always willingly choose to work it out with someone who's being faithful. That's how I think I would respond.
I think it would be easier to work something out with somebody who's faithful than with somebody who's cheating, because they probably had to deceive to cheat.
Right. I'm assuming that there would be a lack of trust.
You did deceive to cheat.
Yeah,
like,
if you're cheating, it was deception involved.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it would be unfortunate. But if the problem became with the faithful man that he was insecure, then I may have to change my perception on monogamy.
I think that kind of
You
goes
may
back
need to
to
go
our
let a
question.
little girl tell you cute or something to come on back home for dinner, baby.
Okay.
Go and let her tell you cute. Go on to the strip club. Here go 200.
I think
Yeah.
that kind of goes back to when we were talking about the fuck nigga versus
Yeah.
the.
And then don't question my every move because you insecure.
Did
That,
too.
that
Woo!
man.
Because I'm popping. Boy, you know how long it took for me to get popping? Shut up, man. Body right, I'm feeling good. You not finna hold me back.
Yeah. I don't know. At the end of the day, I just want a real nigga. So
That's all we ask for.
yeah, it's just and I know that there's this narrative that we can't really handle the truth and blase blase blase, but I think. Well, even if it's are we just gonna stop being truthful because
you feel like somebody
because you
can't
feel like
handle
somebody can't handle it? I think that's toxic, and that's why we get into so many issues.
Also, I think the reason why women get so mad about that is because it's kind of disrespectful. Nigga, women have had the capacity to be raped by family members, have babies, take the oppression of the world, deal with a period. Like, I have been strong enough to do some shit you could never.
Mm-hmm.
And you think I can't handle you telling me about a bitch that's lower than me anyway? Go on and tell me about the hoe.
I think it's a cop out.
It is.
I feel like
is.
lying is fear. Whether it's
Yeah.
fear of loss, whether it's fear
of
of
accountability.
damaging the relationship, whether it's fear of taking accountability, like it's fear.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a cop out.
Well, we could be talking all day, but I feel like we can go ahead and wrap it up. So I don't know if you guys want to do one last segment.
Yes. As y'all know, we like to end the show the same way every time with everything is everything. It's a little light for your heart, for your mind, for your spirit. We're going to be gone for a minute. So take this one and hold on to it tight. Because season 6 is coming. But who wants to begin? They always do this. They always do this.
You begin.
All right, I'll go. No, I'm playing. My everything is everything is one, addiction is a motherfucker. And anybody out there fighting an addiction to anything, I'm with you, okay? I'm with you. I'm working hard to let go of a few of my addictions right now. It's in lieu of where I'm headed to be great. I gotta sacrifice some things, and I understand that. And you do too. If you have a goal in mind, if you have something that you're trying to reach, and you got something that you a slave to, you have got to become the master, okay? You have got to become the master of that. Nothing can control you so much to take you away from where you know you headed. If it's taking you away from the vision, if it's taking your money, if it's taking your time and energy, you need to reshift, focus, reshift or change your focus and become the master, essentially. Don't be a slave to nothing. And addiction is hard, y'all. You know, it's hard. Some of us are born with that trait. Sometimes it ain't even you. And then on top of it, don't have a hard life.
Period.
It becomes much easier to drown yourself in things and become numb to reality in certain ways. And it helps for a while to be numb from reality. It really does. But then when you wake back up, baby, Lord have mercy. You thought you was woke. You thought you was conscious. But bitch, you been numb the whole time.
Okay.
So, yeah. Shout out to my addicted folk. We not gonna be forever.
Nope.
We gonna become the master in this season.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. My everything is everything is self-reflection doesn't stop. So you're always, or you should always be in a state of self-reflection. You should always be looking back and figuring out where things are coming from, because things will come out that you thought you overcame, but you just weren't triggered in that way yet. You just didn't get triggered at that one. You didn't get triggered yet. So just always be in a state of self-reflection so you can continue to ascend.
My light for this week is gonna be to not stay low. Like, I feel like people's journeys get so sensationalized and commercialized that you don't always see the lows that come with the great victories. Like, when you're in those dark times, those storms, remember, as bad as things get, that's as great as they can be too.
Yes.
Like, keep pushing through. Like, sometimes that's the cost to be the boss. Like,
Okay.
you gotta pay for it with some shit sometimes. And that's just a part of the journey.
One way or the other.
Got to pay.
And you can't be focused on how somebody else paying.
Yes, because I feel like you don't know how they paying, honestly. And it always gonna look a lot better than what you got going on, probably.
You got one, Bekah?
Oh, me? Okay. I would say my everything is everything is, don't forget like the power of learning. Like learning is never ending. So of course it could seem overwhelming to take in so much, but don't forget the power to like always continue to learn, and then once you know better, to do better. Like, don't forget to actually take that in and apply it.
Yes.
And that's how you'll like reach your true power.
Yes.
And that's the key. And I just want to piggyback off that because that's something that I think we've been walking into is application. Because sometimes, and I think that kind of goes back to the consciousness talk, like when you start to take in so much information, it doesn't become real until you apply it. Like, until you apply it, it's just a thought, it's just an idea, it's just a theory. You have to apply it to make it real. You like, that's how you build those skills, by application.
Yeah, I just remember I'll be writing down like quotes that I found, and this is something I read this week. It said, knowledge alone doesn't lead to transformation. So you gotta go a little further than the knowledge.
Absolutely. To the
And
application.
then after that, it's always strive for excellence, because the road to mediocrity is crowded.
Period.
And I ain't standing in line.
Okay.
Thank y'all so much. Thank you, Bekah. You did a great job.
Thank
you. We'll definitely probably do this again. Thank y'all so much for watching this, for listening to this. We love y'all. Y'all know. We may take a minute, but we always come back, and we always come back harder. So, if you're looking for us, you can find us on Instagram at
Red Couch Chronicles.
If you're looking for us on Twitter, you can find us at
Red Couch Vibes.
And if you're looking for us on YouTube, you can find us at The Red Couch Chronicles. Now, until then, peace.
Bye.
Love y'all.